Hello, and welcome to this special extended edition of English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I want to start by thanking you for being here right now in this moment. Whether you are listening to this with your morning coffee on a long drive, or perhaps while you are winding down for the day, I want you to take a deep breath. Inhale confidence and exhale doubt. Today we are going to do something different. We are not just learning English, we are going to live it. We are going to immerse ourselves so deeply in the language that it stops feeling like a subject you study in school and starts feeling like a natural part of who you are. The goal of this massive session is to bridge the gap between knowing English grammar and actually feeling comfortable speaking it. I have met so many students who can pass every test with a perfect score. They know the difference between the past perfect and the past continuous tense. They can spell difficult words like bureaucracy and conscientious. But when they walk into a coffee shop and the barista asks how it is going, they freeze. Their minds go blank. They panic. Why does this happen? It happens because fluency is not about memorization. It is about rhythm, flow, and emotional connection. It is about having the phrases ready on the tip of your tongue, so you do not have to translate from your native language. Over the course of this long script, we are going to walk through every single aspect of a typical life, zooming in on the tiny details that textbooks often ignore. We are going to talk about the lint on your sweater, the sound of sizzling bacon, the frustration of traffic jams, and the joy of finding a parking spot. We are going to build your internal monologue, that voice inside your head, so that you start thinking in English. When you think in English, speaking becomes easy, so get comfortable. This is going to be a deep dive. Let us begin at the very beginning of the day. The sun has not yet risen. The world is dark and quiet. You are in your bed, warm and comfortable under the covers. Suddenly, a sound breaks the silence. Beep, beep, beep. Or maybe it is a melody from your phone. It is your alarm clock. Now, here is our first moment of choice and our first moment of English practice. What is your immediate reaction? Do you jump out of bed with energy? Or do you groan and pull the pillow over your head? Most of us do the second one. You might think to yourself, oh no, is it that time already? Or, I am not ready to wake up. There is a specific phrasal verb for what happens next. You reach out your hand, fumble for your phone in the dark. To fumble means to search for something clumsily with your hands, and you hit the snooze button. Snooze is a funny word, isn't it? It implies a short, light sleep. You say to yourself, just 5 more minutes. I just need 5 more minutes. And you drift back off to sleep. But eventually, reality calls. You cannot snooze forever. You have to wake up. Now let's distinguish between two very common verbs that confuse learners: wake up and get up. Wake up is the mental process. It is when your eyes open, your brain switches on, and you realize you are alive. Get up is the physical action. It is when you swing your legs out of bed and your feet touch the floor. You can wake up at 6 o'clock but not get up until 6:30. That 30 minutes in between is often spent scrolling through social media, which we sometimes call doom scrolling if you are reading bad news or just checking your feed. You might look at your notifications and think, wow, I have so many emails, or who is texting me this early? Finally, you decide to brave the day. To brave the day is a slightly poetic way of saying you are ready to face the world. You throw off the duvet, that is the thick, fluffy blanket, and you sit up. You stretch your arms above your head. You might hear a crack in your back or your neck. You say, "Ouch, I must have slept in a weird position." Or maybe I have a crick in my neck. A crick is a stiff, painful feeling in a muscle. You put your feet into your slippers because the floor is cold. You shuffle to the window and open the curtains or the blinds. Shuffle is a verb that means to walk without lifting your feet completely. Usually because you are tired. You look outside. What is the weather doing? If it is sunny, you might say, "Looks like a beautiful day." If it is gray and raining, you might sigh and say, "Ugh, it looks miserable out there." Notice the word miserable. We use it to describe weather that is cold, wet, and gray, just like we use it to describe a person who is very unhappy. Now, you leave the bedroom and head to the bathroom. This is where the morning routine truly begins. The bathroom is full of specific vocabulary that is crucial for daily life. You stand in front of the sink. You look at your reflection in the mirror. You might look a bit of a mess. Your hair is sticking up in different directions. We call this bed head. You might have dark circles under your eyes if you didn't sleep well. You might say to your reflection, "I need to wake up." You turn on the faucet or the tap. Splash some cold water on your face. That shock of cold water helps to alert your senses. Now, you reach for your toothbrush and the toothpaste. You unscrew the cap. You squeeze a pea-sized amount of toothpaste onto the bristles. Bristles are the little plastic hairs on the brush. You brush your teeth. Up and down, back and forth. You rinse your mouth with water. Maybe you gargle. To gargle is to hold water in the back of your throat and make a bubbling sound to clean it. Then you spit it out. This leaves you with minty, fresh breath. If you are someone who has a skincare routine, this is where you narrate it. Skincare has become very popular, and the vocabulary is quite specific. You might use a cleanser to wash your face. Then you might apply a toner with a cotton pad. After that, perhaps a serum, a concentrated liquid for your skin. Finally, and most importantly, moisturizer. You massage the moisturizer into your skin to keep it hydrated. If it is daytime, you should apply sunscreen or SPF. Even if it is cloudy, the UV rays can damage your skin. You might think, "I don't want to get wrinkles prematurely." This is a great sentence to practice. I am applying sunscreen to protect my skin. For the gentleman listening, maybe you need to shave. You grab your razor and some shaving cream or gel. You lather up the cream on your face. To lather means to create a foam. You carefully slide the razor across your skin. You have to be careful not to nick yourself. A nick is a tiny cut. If you do cut yourself, you might need to stick a small piece of tissue paper on it to stop the bleeding. Or maybe you have a beard and you just need to trim it with an electric trimmer. You check your appearance one last time. You might fix your hair with some gel, wax, or hairspray. You run a comb or a brush through it to detangle any knots. Now you look presentable. Presentable means you look tidy enough to be seen by other people. Now comes the question of clothing. You walk to your closet or wardrobe. This can be a moment of decision paralysis. Decision paralysis is when you have so many choices that you cannot choose anything. You stare at your clothes hanging there. You ask yourself, what is the vibe today? Is it a formal work day? Is it a casual Friday? Is it a lazy Sunday? Let's assume it is a regular work day. You need something business casual. This is a very common dress code in Western countries. It means you don't need a full suit and tie, but you can't wear sweatpants. You might choose a pair of chinos or dress pants. You pick out a button-down shirt. You hold it up. Oh no, it is wrinkled. It has creases in it. You have two choices. You can iron it, which takes time, or you can choose a different shirt. Let's say you are disciplined, so you pull out the ironing board and the iron. You wait for the iron to heat up. You press the steam button. Hiss. You smooth out the wrinkles. There is something very satisfying about smoothing out a wrinkled shirt. It feels like you are smoothing out the chaos of the morning. You put on the shirt. You button the buttons. Be careful not to miss a button, or you will have to redo them all. That is annoying. You tuck your shirt in. Or maybe you leave it untucked if the style allows. You put on a belt. You sit on the edge of the bed to put on your socks. One sock, two socks. Then your shoes. Are you wearing sneakers, loafers, heels, or boots? Let's say you wear comfortable leather shoes. You tie the laces. Bunny ears is the method children learn, but hopefully you can tie them quickly now. You stand up and look in the full-length mirror. You check your outfit. Does it match? Do the colors coordinate? You might think, does this blue go with this black? There is an old-fashioned rule that says you shouldn't mix navy blue and black. But honestly, people do it all the time now. You decide it looks fine. You grab a jacket or a coat depending on the season. If it is winter, you might need a scarf and gloves. You are dressed and ready to go. But wait, your stomach gives a little rumble. It is growling. That is your body telling you it needs fuel. It is time for breakfast. You head to the kitchen. The kitchen is the heart of the home, and it is also a place full of sensory details. The first priority for many people is caffeine, coffee or tea. Let's say you are a coffee person. Do you use a machine, a French press, or a pour-over? Let's narrate the process of making coffee because it is a ritual. You open the bag of coffee beans. The smell hits you, rich, dark, and earthy. You pour the beans into the grinder. You press the button. Whirr! The loud noise wakes you up even more. You dump the ground coffee into the filter. You pour the water into the machine. You press brew. Then you hear the gurgle and drip of the coffee being made. The aroma fills the kitchen. Aroma is a lovely word for a pleasant smell, usually related to food or drink. While the coffee is brewing, you need to make food. What is on the menu? Maybe just toast? You take 2 slices of bread. You can choose white, whole wheat, sourdough, or rye. You pop them into the toaster. You push the lever down. Now you have to wait. If you are impatient, you might pop it up early to check. You want it to be golden brown, not burnt. If you burn it, you have to scrape the black part off with a knife over the sink. We have all done that. Once the toast is ready, you butter it while it is still hot so the butter melts and soaks into the bread. Maybe you add jam, marmalade, or honey. Or, if you are feeling Australian, Vegemite, though that is an acquired taste. Maybe you want something more substantial, like eggs. You take a carton of eggs out of the fridge, you crack an egg on the side of the frying pan, or a bowl. You have to be careful not to get any shell in the egg. If you do, you have to fish it out with your finger. How do you like your eggs? Scrambled? Fried, poached, boiled? Let's say scrambled. You whisk the eggs in a bowl with a fork. You add a splash of milk and a pinch of salt and pepper. A pinch is a tiny amount you can hold between your thumb and finger. You heat a knob of butter in the pan. You pour in the eggs. You push them around with a spatula until they are fluffy and cooked. You slide them onto a plate. Now you sit down at the table. Maybe you have a partner, children, or a roommate. This is a prime time for morning conversation. It is usually short and functional because everyone is in a rush. You might ask, Did you sleep well? The other person might mumble, yeah, okay. The dog woke me up at 3 a.m. though. You might ask, what is your schedule like today? Or, what time will you be home? This helps coordinate the household. If you have kids, the morning can be chaotic. Eat your breakfast. Where is your homework? Put on your shoes. It is a flurry of activity. A flurry describes a sudden, short period of commotion or excitement. You finish your coffee. You take the last sip. You put the mug in the sink or the dishwasher. If you are disciplined, you rinse it out so the coffee stains don't set. Now you need to pack your bag. You check for the essentials. We often do a 3-tap check. You tap your pockets. Phone, wallet, keys. Phone, wallet, keys. If you have those 3 things, you can survive the day. You might also need your laptop charger, a water bottle, and maybe an umbrella just in case. Just in case is a great phrase meaning to be prepared for a possibility. You zip up your bag, you walk to the front door, you might shout goodbye to anyone left in the house. I'm off. See you later. You open the door and step out. You lock the door behind you. You give the handle a little jiggle, just to make sure it is locked. Does anyone else do that? It is a peace of mind thing. Now begins the commute. The commute is the journey from your home to your place of work or study. Depending on where you live, this could be a peaceful drive or a stressful battle. Let's imagine a few different scenarios because the vocabulary is different for each. Scenario A, you drive a car. You walk to your car parked in the driveway or on the street. You unlock it with the remote key fob. You open the door and slide into the driver's seat. You buckle your seatbelt. Click. You adjust the mirrors. You check the gas gauge. Do you have enough gas or do you need to fill up? To fill up means to go to the gas station. You start the engine. You back out of the driveway. You have to check your blind spots. Blind spots are the areas around the car that you cannot see in your mirrors. You merge onto the main road. Traffic might be light or it might be bumper to bumper. Bumper to bumper implies the cars are so close they are almost touching and moving very slowly. If the traffic is bad, we call it a traffic jam or gridlock. This can be frustrating. You might feel road rage. Road rage is when you get angry at other drivers. Maybe someone cuts you off. To cut someone off means to drive in front of them suddenly and dangerously. You might honk your horn, beep, but you try to stay calm. You turn on the radio or a podcast to pass the time. You listen to the traffic report. The reporter says, there is a stalled vehicle on the I-95. Expect delays of 20 minutes. You groan. Great, I'm going to be late. You might have to call your boss. Since you are driving, you use the hands-free system. Hey, I'm running a bit late. Traffic is a nightmare. I should be there in 15 minutes. Running late is the standard phrase. We don't usually say, I am coming late. We say, I am running late. Scenario B. You take public transportation. Maybe you take the subway, the metro, the tube, or the underground. Different names for the same thing. You walk to the station. You walk down the stairs or take the escalator. Remember the rule on the escalator in many cities. Stand on the right, walk on the left. If you stand on the left, people will get annoyed. You get to the turnstile or the ticket barrier. You have to tap your card or scan your ticket. Sometimes it doesn't work in the first try. Seek assistance, the machine says. You try again. Beep. It opens. You walk through. You stand on the platform waiting for the train. You can hear the rumble of the train approaching. A voice comes over the loudspeaker. The next train to downtown is arriving in 2 minutes. Please stand behind the yellow line. The train screeches to a halt. The doors hiss open. It is rush hour, so the train is packed. Packed means very crowded, like sardines in a tin. You squeeze inside. You grab a handrail or a strap to hold on. You are swaying back and forth as the train moves. You try not to make eye contact with strangers. In many big cities, there is an unwritten rule. Do not stare at people on the subway. You might read a book or look at your phone. Suddenly, the train stops in a tunnel. The lights flicker. Everyone sighs. The conductor makes an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being held momentarily due to train traffic ahead. We should be moving shortly. Momentarily means for a short time. Shortly means soon. These are vague words that transport companies love to use. You check your watch. You are anxious. Finally, the train lurches forward. You arrive at your stop. You have to push past people to get out. Getting off, pardon me. You step out onto the platform and breathe the station air. You go up the stairs and back out into the daylight. Scenario C. You walk. If you are lucky enough to live close to work, you might walk. This is a sensory experience. You feel the cold air on your cheeks. You hear the city sounds, sirens, construction work, people talking. You have to navigate the sidewalk. You stop at a crosswalk or a pedestrian crossing. You wait for the little green man or the walk signal. You cross the street. You might pass a bakery and smell fresh pastries. You might see a homeless person asking for change. You might see a street performer playing the violin. Walking allows you to observe the city. You might run into someone you know. Oh, hi, Sarah. I didn't expect to see you here. Run into means to meet unexpectedly. You have a quick chat. I'm actually in a rush to get to work, but let's catch up soon. Walk and talk, you might say. No matter how you commute, you eventually arrive at your destination. The building looms in front of you. You might have to use a security badge to enter. You swipe your badge at the door. Beep. The lock clicks open. You walk into the lobby. The lobby is usually quiet and clean. You might nod at the security guard. Morning, Frank. Morning, Jessica. You head to the elevator. You press the button. You wait. When the elevator arrives, you step in. If there are other people, you usually face forward and watch the floor numbers change. 1, 2, 3. Ding. Floor 4. The doors open. You step out into your office, your school, or your workplace. The atmosphere changes. You switch modes. You leave your home self behind and become your professional self. The air might smell like coffee and photocopier toner. You hear the hum of computers and the murmur of colleagues chatting. You walk to your desk or your station. You put your bag down. You take off your coat. You sit in your chair. You might adjust the height of the chair. You wiggle the mouse to wake up your computer. You type in your password. You are logged in. The day has officially begun. But before you dive into work, let's check in on how you are feeling. Being able to express your emotions is a key part of confidence. If a colleague asks, "How are you this morning?" do not just say, "I'm fine." That is boring. Try being a little more descriptive. "I'm feeling pretty good, actually. The traffic wasn't too bad." Or, "I'm a little tired, I need another coffee, but I'm ready to get started." Or, "I'm a bit stressed about that meeting later," to be honest. Being honest within professional limits makes you more relatable. It makes people want to talk to you. And speaking is the goal. Let's imagine you need to get a coffee from the office kitchen before you start working. You walk in. There is a colleague there. Let's call him Dave. Dave is standing by the coffee machine. This is the classic water cooler moment. It is a small, informal chat. You say, "Morning, Dave. How's it going?" Dave says, "Not too bad. Just trying to wake up. How was your weekend?" Even if it is Tuesday, people still talk about the weekend. You say, "It was good, thanks. I just relaxed mostly." "Did you do anything fun?" Dave says, "Yeah, I took the kids to the park." You say, "Oh, that sounds nice. The weather was perfect for it." This is small talk. Many students hate small talk, but it is the grease that keeps the social wheels turning. It builds trust. It shows you are friendly. You don't have to talk about deep philosophy. You just have to show you are human. You grab your coffee and head back to your desk. You open your email inbox. You see you have 20 unread messages. You might sigh. Here we go, you think. You start going through them. Some are spam, junk mail, you delete those. Some are updates from your boss. Some are requests from clients. You have to prioritize. To prioritize means to decide what is most important. You flag the urgent emails. You decide to answer the easy ones first to get them out of the way. This is a productivity strategy. Now let's look at a specific email scenario. You have to write an email to a client explaining a delay. This requires formal, polite English. You don't say, "Hey, we are late, sorry," that is too casual. You write, "Subject, update on Project X. Dear Ms. Johnson, I am writing to inform you that there will be a slight delay in the delivery of the final report. Unfortunately, we encountered some unexpected technical issues." Notice the phrase "encountered unexpected technical issues." This sounds professional. It doesn't blame anyone specific, it just states the problem. You continue. "We are working hard to resolve this and expect to have the report to you by Friday. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause." Apologize for any inconvenience is a standard business phrase. Learn it. Use it. It works every time. You sign off, "Best regards, Jessica." As you hit send, your boss walks by. "Hey, Jessica, do you have a minute? I'd like to catch up on the quarterly numbers." "Do you have a minute?" is code for "I want to talk to you now." You say, "Sure, just let me finish this one thing and I'll be right there." Or if you are free, "Absolutely, come on in." Now that the day is in full swing, your calendar sends you a notification. Ping. It is time for the weekly team meeting. Meetings can be a source of anxiety, but they are also a goldmine for business English vocabulary. You grab your notebook and your pen, or maybe just your laptop, and you head to the conference room. Or, if you work remotely, you click the link to join the video call. Let's imagine we are in a physical conference room first. You walk in. There is a long table. People are taking their seats. There is a specific etiquette here. You usually ask, "Is this seat taken?" before you sit down, just to be polite. The meeting organizer, let's call her Sarah, stands at the front. She says, "All right, everyone, let's get the ball rolling." This is a classic business idiom. To get the ball rolling means to start the process or start the meeting. Sarah might say, "We have a lot to cover today, so let's stick to the agenda." The agenda is the list of topics to be discussed. She starts talking about quarterly goals. You are listening intently. To listen intently means to listen with strong focus. Suddenly, you have an idea. You want to contribute. But interrupting can be tricky in English. You do not want to be rude. So you wait for a tiny pause in her speech. You lean forward slightly, which signals you want to speak, and you say, "Can I just jump in here for a second?" Or perhaps, "I have a thought on that, if you don't mind." Sarah nods at you. "Go ahead," she says. "You present your idea." "I think we should focus more on social media marketing this month. It seems to be driving the most traffic." Sarah nods again. "That is a valid point," she says. Let's put a pin in that and come back to it later. To put a pin in something means to save the topic for another time, usually because there is not enough time to discuss it right now. Now, let's imagine the meeting is happening online via Zoom or Teams. This brings a whole new set of vocabulary. You join the call, but your screen is black. You realize your camera is off, you click the button. Now people can see you. You say, "Hi everyone, can you hear me okay?" Everyone nods. But then someone starts talking and you cannot hear them. Their mouth is moving, but no sound is coming out. You say, "John, I think you are on mute." Being on mute is the most common phrase of the modern workplace. John realizes his mistake, unmutes himself, and says, "Sorry about that, rookie mistake." A rookie mistake is a basic error that a beginner would make. Later in the call, your internet connection becomes unstable. The video freezes. The audio starts to chop. We call this lagging or breaking up. You might say, "I am sorry, you are breaking up a little bit. Could you repeat that?" Or if your screen completely freezes, you might have to leave the call and rejoin. You type in the chat box, "My internet is acting up. I will be right back." To act up means to not work properly. Conflict in meetings is also something we need to prepare for. What if you disagree with a colleague? You should not say, "You are wrong." That is too aggressive. Instead, use what we call softeners. You can say, "I see where you are coming from, but I have a slightly different perspective." Or, "I am not sure I entirely agree with that approach." This is polite disagreement. It keeps the relationship professional. Maybe the meeting gets heated. To get heated means people are arguing or getting emotional. The manager might step in and say, "Let's take this offline." Taking something offline means discussing it privately after the meeting, rather than wasting everyone else's time. The meeting ends. You survived. You walk back to your desk. You check the time. It is 12:30. Your stomach is growling again. It is time for lunch. Lunch is a very important part of the day, not just for food, but for socializing. Your colleagues might ask, "Who is hungry?" Or, "Hey, do you want to grab a bite?" To grab a bite is casual slang for getting lunch. You say, "I am starving, let's go." You decide to go to a nearby sandwich shop or a salad bar. You walk out of the building. The fresh air feels good after being inside under the fluorescent lights. You arrive at the restaurant. It is busy. There is a line. You stand in the queue. You look at the menu board on the wall. It is overwhelming. There are so many options. Sandwiches, wraps, salads, soups. When it is your turn, the server asks, "What can I get for you?" Now this is where you can practice ordering with specific requirements. Maybe you have a dietary restriction. Let's say you are allergic to nuts. You have to be very clear. You say, "Hi, I would like the chicken salad, but does the dressing contain any nuts? I have a severe allergy." The server checks the ingredients. "No, it is safe," they say. Or maybe you are vegetarian. You ask, "Is the vegetable soup made with chicken stock or vegetable stock?" This is a good detail to know. Stock is the liquid base of the soup. Or maybe you just want to be healthy. You can say, "Can I get the dressing on the side, please?" This means they put the sauce in a little cup so you can control how much you eat. Or, "Can I substitute the chips for a side salad?" To substitute means to swap one thing for another. You get your food and sit down with your coworkers. This is where you switch back to casual English. You do not talk about spreadsheets here. You talk about life. One colleague asks, "Have you been watching that new show on Netflix?" You say, "No, I haven't had time." "Is it any good?" They say, "Oh, it is addictive. You have to watch it." Addictive means you cannot stop watching it. Another colleague talks about their weekend plans. "I am going hiking," they say. You ask, "Oh, really? Where do you go?" This is the art of conversation, asking follow-up questions. It shows you are interested. If the food is delicious, you say, "This is really good." If it is not good, you might whisper, "My sandwich is a bit dry. I should have asked for extra mayo." When the meal is over, the server brings the bill or the check. Now comes the social dance of paying. In some cultures, one person pays. In others, everyone fights to pay. In the US and UK, among coworkers, it is very common to split the bill. You can say, "Shall we split it?" Or "Let's go Dutch." Going Dutch means everyone pays for exactly what they ate. You look at the receipt, you calculate your share. "Okay, I had the salad and a water, so I owe $15. You put your card down. Or maybe today is a special occasion. Maybe it is your colleague's birthday. You might say, "No, put your wallet away. It is on me today." When you say it is on me, you mean I am paying for everything. It is a generous gesture. You walk back to the office. You might feel the afternoon slump approaching. The post-lunch dip is real. Your energy fades. You sit at your desk and stare at the screen. You might say to your neighbor, "I am struggling to keep my eyes open. I need a pick-me-up." A pick-me-up is something that gives you energy, usually caffeine or sugar. You might go for a quick walk around the block or do some desk stretches. You roll your shoulders back. You stretch your neck. You drink a big glass of water. You tell yourself, "Come on, focus. You have a few more hours to go." You power through your tasks. You finish that report. You reply to those last few emails. You organize your to-do list for tomorrow. Finally, the workday ends. You pack up your things. You say goodbye to everyone. "See you tomorrow. Have a good evening." You step out of the building. You feel a sense of freedom. But wait, you cannot go home just yet. You have errands to run. Errands are those small, necessary tasks that keep our lives running. Today, you need to go to the bank and the post office. These are places where specific vocabulary is essential and accuracy prevents problems. Let's go to the bank first. You walk into the branch. It is quiet and cool inside. It smells like money and old carpet. You approach the teller. The teller is the person behind the counter who helps you. You might have to wait in line behind the velvet ropes. When you get to the front, the teller says, "Next, please." You walk up. "Hi, how can I help you today?" You say, "I would like to make a deposit." A deposit is putting money into your account. You hand over some cash or a check. You might need to fill out a deposit slip, which is a small piece of paper where you write your account number and the amount. Or maybe you need to take money out. You say, "I would like to make a withdrawal." They ask, "How much?" You say, $200, please. They might ask, "How would you like that?" This means, "What bills do you want?" You can say, "In 20s, please," or "Large bills, please." Let's imagine a more complicated situation. You check your account balance and you see a charge you do not recognize. This is scary. You say to the teller, "Excuse me, I see a charge here for $50 from a company I don't know. I think there might be a mistake." The teller looks at the screen. "Let me check that for you," they say. They type on their keyboard. Click, click, click. "Ah," they say, "that looks like a subscription fee. Did you sign up for a magazine? You remember? Oh, right. I forgot I did that. Thank you." Or maybe it really is fraud. They might say, "This looks suspicious. We should cancel your card and issue a new one just to be safe." To issue means to create and give out officially. You say, "Yes, please do that. I don't want to take any risks." Or perhaps you are traveling soon and you need foreign currency. You ask, "What is the current exchange rate for euros?" They tell you the rate. It might be good or bad. You say, "Okay, I would like to exchange $500 into euros." They count the money out for you. They might use a counting machine. Whir, thwack, thwack. It is a satisfying sound. You put the money safely in your wallet. You ask, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" You say, "No, that is all for today, thank you." Now, you leave the bank and head to the post office. You have a package to send to your friend who lives in another country. You have the box in your hands. You walk into the post office. It smells like paper and glue. You go to the counter. The postal worker asks, "How can I help you?" You put the box on the scale. The scale is the metal plate that weighs the package. You say, "I need to mail this to France." They ask, "How would you like to send it? Standard, priority, or express?" This is a choice about speed and money. Standard is cheap but slow. Express is fast but expensive. You ask, "How long does standard shipping take?" They say about 2 weeks. You ask, "An express?" They say 3 to 5 business days. You decide. "I will go with express, please. It is a birthday gift, so I want it to get there on time." Then comes the security questions. They ask, "Does this parcel contain anything liquid, fragile, perishable, or potentially hazardous?" This is a standard script. Liquid means wet stuff like water or perfume. Fragile means it breaks easily like glass. Perishable means it will rot like food. Hazardous means dangerous like batteries or chemicals. You say, "No, it is just a sweater and a book." They say, "Okay, go ahead and swipe your card." You pay. They print a label and stick it on the box. They give you a long receipt. They circle a number on it. "This is your tracking number," they say. You can use this to see where your package is online. You say, "Great, thank you." Tracking numbers are very useful. You can watch your package travel across the world. While you are at the post office, you remember you need stamps. You say, "Oh, could I also buy a book of stamps?" A book of stamps is a small booklet containing usually 10 or 20 stamps. They hand it to you. You choose the ones with the flowers on them because they look nice. You put them in your bag. Mission accomplished. You have successfully navigated the bank and the post office. These interactions might seem small, but they require confidence. If you mumble, the teller might make a mistake. If you are not clear at the post office, your package might go to the wrong place. So speaking clearly and knowing your vocabulary is a real-life superpower. Now you step back out onto the street. The sun is lower in the sky now. It is late afternoon. The rush hour is starting. People are hurrying home. Cars are honking. You feel a little tired but also productive. You've done a full day of work and handled your life administration. This is what we call adulting. Adulting is a slang term for doing the responsible tasks of being an adult. You might think to yourself, "I am so done with adulting for today. I just want to go home." But wait, before you go home, you realize you need to stop at the pharmacy. You have a mild headache, probably from looking at the computer screen all day. You walk into the drugstore. The fluorescent lights are bright. You walk down the aisles looking for pain relief. You see rows and rows of bottles. Tylenol, Advil, aspirin. You pick up a bottle of ibuprofen. You check the dosage. Take 2 tablets every 4 hours. You also remember you need some shampoo. You walk to the personal care aisle. You smell a few bottles. Coconut? Lavender? You choose the coconut one because it smells like a vacation. You head to the checkout. There is a self-checkout machine available. These machines talk to you. Welcome, please scan your first item. You scan the shampoo. Beep. You scan the medicine. Beep. Please place your item in the bagging area. You put it in the bag. Unexpected item in the bagging area, the machine shouts. This is the most annoying phrase in the English language. You have to wait for an attendant to come and fix it. They swipe their card. You are good to go, they say. You pay and leave. Now you are truly heading home. You might be walking, driving, or taking the bus again. Let's imagine you are walking through a park on your way home. It is a nice transition between the busy city and your quiet home. You see people walking their dogs. You see runners jogging. You see kids playing on the playground. You hear the sound of leaves crunching under your feet if it is autumn. You take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. You are shifting gears. You are moving from doing mode to being mode. You start to think about what you want to do for the evening. Do you want to cook? Do you want to order takeout? Do you want to just lie on the floor? All are valid options. As you walk, your phone rings. It is your mom or your dad calling. You answer, "Hi, Mom. How are things?" You switch to a different kind of English now, familial, warm, intimate. You do not worry about grammar here. You just share. She asks, "How was work?" You say, "It was okay. A bit busy. The meeting was long." "How is Dad?" She tells you about her day. Maybe she tells you some neighborhood gossip. Gossip is talking about other people's lives. "Did you hear that Mrs. Jones bought a new car?" she asks. You laugh. You chat for 10 minutes. This connection grounds you. You hang up with, "Love you, bye." You turn the corner and you see your building or your house. The lights are on in the windows. It looks welcoming. You reach into your pocket for your keys. You find the right key. You slide it into the lock. Click. You push the door open. You are home. This moment, crossing the threshold, is significant. You leave the stress of the bank, the post office, and the office outside. You step into your sanctuary. Sanctuary means a safe and holy place, but we use it to describe our homes as our personal safe spaces. You drop your keys in a bowl by the door. You kick off your shoes. You hang up your coat. You might sigh loudly. That is the sound of decompression. You are no longer an employee, a customer, or a commuter. You are just you. You walk into the living room and maybe you greet your pet. If you have a dog, it is jumping on you, wagging its tail. "Who's a good boy?" you ask. You speak in a high-pitched voice. Everyone does it. If you have a cat, maybe it ignores you, or maybe it rubs against your leg. You go to the kitchen to get a glass of water. You are thirsty. Hydration is key. You have changed out of your work clothes and into your loungewear. Loungewear is a great category of clothing. Sweatpants, leggings, soft t-shirts, clothes that say, "I am done for the day." Now, the question arises, what is for dinner? Unless you are ordering takeout, you are likely heading to the kitchen. Cooking is a fantastic way to learn English because it is all about following instructions and using specific verbs. Let's imagine you are trying a new recipe tonight. You pull up a recipe on your phone or open a cookbook. The first instruction usually involves preparation or prep work. You need to chop the onions. Chopping means cutting into small, irregular pieces. If the recipe says dice, that means cutting into very small, uniform cubes. If it says mince, that means cutting it as small as possible, almost into a paste. This is often used for garlic. So you are in the kitchen. You grab your cutting board and your chef's knife. You peel the garlic cloves. You mince them. You heat some olive oil in a pan. You throw the garlic and onions in. The smell is instantly comforting. We call this sautéing. You sauté them until they are translucent, which means they are semi-transparent and soft. Now, the recipe says to simmer the sauce. Simmering is different from boiling. Boiling is when the water bubbles violently. Simmering is when it bubbles gently, just a little bit. You turn the heat down to low. You let the flavors meld together. To meld means to combine effectively. While the sauce simmers, you might grate some cheese using a cheese grater. Watch your fingers. You do not want to grate your skin. Maybe you are baking. Baking is a science. You have to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. You sift the flour to remove lumps. You whisk the eggs and sugar together until they are fluffy. Then you fold in the chocolate chips. Folding is a gentle mixing motion so you don't push the air out of the batter. You pour the batter into a greased pan. You slide it into the oven. Then you set a timer. Now you have to wait. The kitchen starts to smell like a bakery. Your mouth starts to water. When your mouth waters, it means you are physically reacting to the desire to eat. Finally, the timer beeps. You take the cake out. You have to let it cool on a wire rack before you can frost it. Frosting is the sugary cream you put on top. Cooking is not just a chore, it is a hobby for many. And speaking of hobbies, the evening is the prime time for them. How do you talk about what you do in your free time? This is one of the most common conversation topics in English. If someone asks, "What do you do for fun?" please do not say, "I like sleeping." Try to be more descriptive. You can say, "I am really into gardening." To be into something is a very natural way to say you enjoy it. You might say, "I have a bit of a green thumb." Having a green thumb is an idiom that means you are good at keeping plants alive. Or maybe you say, "I am a bit of a bookworm. I love getting lost in a good novel." Or perhaps, "I am a huge movie buff." A buff is an expert or a big fan of a specific topic. Let's practice this right now. I want you to think of your favorite hobby. Now, imagine you are explaining it to a stranger at a party. Don't just name the hobby. Explain why you like it. For example, instead of saying "I like painting," say "I find painting very therapeutic. It helps me unwind after a stressful day." Or, "I enjoy knitting because I love creating something with my hands." Using words like therapeutic, creative, challenging, or rewarding adds depth to your English. It makes you sound sophisticated. Now, let's shift gears. Imagine it is Friday night. You are not staying home. You are going out. You have been invited to a house party or a get-together. A get-together is a casual gathering of friends. You dress up a little bit. You look in the mirror and think, "Looking sharp." Looking sharp means you look stylish and well-groomed. You grab a bottle of wine or a six-pack of beer to bring. It is polite not to arrive empty-handed. You arrive at the house. You can hear the music thumping from outside. You ring the doorbell. The host opens the door. "Hey, you made it," they say. "You made it" implies they are happy you succeeded in coming. You step inside. The room is crowded. This is the moment where social anxiety can kick in, but you are prepared. You have your small talk toolkit. You scan the room. You see a few familiar faces and a lot of strangers. You head to the kitchen first. The kitchen is always the social hub of a party. You put your drinks down. You see someone standing by the chips and dip. You smile and say, "Hi, I'm Jessica. I don't think we've met." They introduce themselves. "I'm Tom." Now, you need an icebreaker. An icebreaker is a question to start the conversation flowing. You can ask, "So, how do you know the host?" This is the classic party question. Tom says, "Oh, we went to college together." You say, "Nice. Did you go to school here in the city?" Now you are rolling. The conversation moves on. Maybe you talk about work, but try to keep it light. "What do you do for a living?" is the standard question. Tom says, "I'm an accountant." You say, "Oh, busy season must be coming up for you." This shows you know a little bit about his world. If the conversation stalls or dies down, you can comment on the environment. "This guacamole's amazing. Have you tried it?" Or, "I love this song. Do you know who sings it?" If you really hit it off with someone, to hit it off means to have an instant connection. You might exchange numbers. "Hey, we should grab coffee sometime." This is a low-pressure way to suggest meeting again. Let's imagine a different scenario, a date. Dating in a second language is terrifying but exciting. You are meeting someone at a nice restaurant. You arrive a few minutes early. Punctuality is attractive. You tell the host, "I have a reservation for 2 under the name Jessica." They show you to your table. You sit down. You check your phone, but don't stare at it. Your date arrives. You stand up to greet them. A hug, a handshake, a kiss on the cheek. It depends on the culture and how well you know them. Let's go with a warm smile and a, "Hi, it is so good to see you." You sit down. The waiter comes over. "Can I start you off with some drinks?" You order a glass of wine or sparkling water. On a date, the goal is to get to know the other person. You want to ask open-ended questions, not questions that can be answered with just yes or no. Instead of, "Do you like travel?" ask, "What is the most interesting place you have ever visited?" Instead of, "Do you like your job?" ask, "How did you get into your field?" These questions invite stories, and stories are where connection happens. If your date tells a funny story, laugh. If they tell a sad story, show empathy. Use your face, nod your head. Say things like, "Oh, no, really?" or "That is incredible." These are called active listening cues. They show you are engaged. At the end of the date, the bill comes. We talked about this before, but on a date, it can be tricky. Usually, the person who invited the other person pays, or you split it. You can offer, "Let me get this." If they insist on paying, you can say, "Are you sure?" "Thank you, that is very sweet of you." Then you leave the restaurant. You walk out into the cool night air. If the date went well, you might say, "I had a really great time tonight." If you want to see them again, be brave. Say, "I'd love to do this again." If they smile and say, "Me too," then you know you have succeeded. But maybe you are not a party animal. Maybe your perfect evening is a night in. You are a homebody. A homebody is someone who prefers to stay at home. You finish your dinner. You clean up the kitchen. You put the dishes in the dishwasher. You wipe down the counters. Now the night is yours. You change into your pajamas. You grab a soft blanket. You head to the living room. It is time for entertainment. Watching movies and TV shows is one of the best ways to learn English, but you have to do it actively. Let's say you are watching a thriller. You are on the edge of your seat. The plot is full of twists and turns. A plot twist is when something unexpected happens. You might shout at the screen, "Don't go in there," or "He is the killer, I knew it." If you are watching with a friend, you might discuss it afterwards. What did you think of the ending? I thought it was a bit of a cliffhanger. A cliffhanger is when the story ends unresolved, leaving you desperate for the next episode. This leads to binge watching. Binge watching is when you watch 5, 6, or 10 episodes in a row. You look at the clock and realize it is 2 a.m. You say, just one more episode. We have all been there. While you are watching, turn on the subtitles. This connects the sound of the word to the spelling. If you hear a cool idiom, pause the show. Write it down. Repeat it. Shadow the actors. If a character says, "I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse," try to say it with the same accent and intonation. This is fun and effective. You are training your mouth muscles. Maybe you prefer reading. You curl up in an armchair with a lamp. You open a novel. You get lost in the world of the book. Reading builds your vocabulary faster than anything else because you see words in context. You encounter adjectives like gloomy, exuberant, meticulous. You might not know exactly what they mean, but you can guess from the story. This is contextual learning. If you are tired, your eyes might start to get heavy. You fight to stay awake because the chapter is so good, but eventually you have to put the bookmark in. Now, the evening is winding down. It is getting late. You might go around the house and lock up. You check the front door. Click. You check the back door. Click. You turn off the lights. The house goes dark and quiet. You head upstairs or to your bedroom. You might do some light stretching or yoga to relax your body. You enter the bathroom for your nighttime routine. We talked about the morning routine, but the night routine is about removing the day. You wash your face to remove the dirt and pollution. You brush your teeth again. You might floss. Flossing is important. You put on your night cream. You walk into your bedroom. You pull back the covers. You fluff your pillow. You climb into bed. It feels cool and soft. You let out a long sigh. The day is done. But before you sleep, there is one more thing you can do for your English. Keep a journal. It doesn't have to be long. Just 3 sentences about your day. Today I went to the bank. I felt nervous, but I did it. I also cooked a great pasta. Writing helps you process your thoughts. It reinforces the vocabulary you use during the day. It is a private space where you can make mistakes without anyone judging you. As you lay there in the dark, you might think about tomorrow, but try to stay in the present. Listen to the sounds of the night. Maybe a car driving by. Maybe the wind in the trees. You are safe. You are learning. You are growing. And when you open your eyes again, the routine is gone. It is Saturday. The weekend is special. It changes the rhythm of our lives, and naturally, it changes the rhythm of our English. The language becomes looser, friendlier, and often more spontaneous. Let's start with Saturday morning. Unlike Monday through Friday, the goal on Saturday is often to sleep in. To sleep in means to sleep later than you usually do on purpose. It is a luxury. You might wake up at 9 or 10 o'clock. You stretch and think, it is the weekend. There is no alarm clock today. This feeling is pure bliss. Now, a very popular weekend activity in English-speaking countries is brunch. Brunch is that magical meal between breakfast and lunch. It usually happens around 11 in the morning or noon. It is not just a meal. It is a social event. You might text a group of friends. Hey guys, who's up for brunch? To be up for something means you are willing and interested in doing it. Your friend might reply, I'm down. Being down means the same thing as being up for it. It means, yes, let's do it. You meet your friends at a trendy cafe. There is a line out the door. In English, we often say, there is a wait. The host tells you, it will be about a 30-minute wait for a table of 4. You say, that's fine, we'll wait. While you stand there, you catch up. Catching up is the essential activity of friendship. You ask, "So what's new? How was your week?" Your friend might say, "Oh, it was hectic. I am so glad it is over." You gossip a little, you laugh. Finally, you get seated. You look at the menu. It is full of delicious words. Fluffy pancakes, crispy bacon, poached eggs, bottomless coffee. You order, "I'll have the eggs Benedict, please, with the sauce on the side." When the food comes, it is a feast. You might say, "My eyes were bigger than my stomach." This is a classic idiom meaning you took more food than you can actually eat. After brunch, you decide to visit a farmer's market. This is different from the grocery store we visited earlier. A farmer's market is outdoors. It is vibrant. There are stalls selling fresh flowers, homemade jams, and artisan bread. You walk around or browse. Browsing means looking without a specific goal to buy. You stop at a cheese stall. The vendor asks, "Would you like a sample?" You say, "Yes, please." You taste a piece of sharp cheddar. "Wow, that has a kick to it," you say. A kick means a strong, spicy, or sharp flavor. You buy a block. You feel connected to the community. You are supporting local businesses. But let's dream bigger. Let's imagine this isn't just a regular weekend. Let's imagine you are going on a trip. You are going to the airport. Travel vocabulary is specific and high stakes because if you get it wrong, you might miss your flight. So let's practice. You are at home packing your suitcase. You have to decide, roll or fold. Rolling clothes saves space. You check your itinerary. An itinerary is your travel plan. You make sure you have your passport. You call an Uber or a taxi. To the airport, international terminal, please. You arrive at the airport. You walk through the sliding doors. You look at the departure screens. You find your flight. Flight 405 to London. Status, on time. You go to the check-in counter or the kiosk. The machine asks, "Are you checking any bags?" You say, "Yes, one suitcase." You put it on the scale. You hold your breath. Is it overweight? If it is over 50 pounds, you have to pay a fee. It is 48 pounds. You are safe. You get your boarding pass. This is your golden ticket. Next, the security checkpoint. The TSA agents are shouting instructions. Laptops out, shoes off, belts off, empty your pockets. You have to move fast. You grab a plastic bin. You put your shoes, your phone, and your bag in it. You walk through the body scanner. You stand with your feet apart and your hands over your head. The machine spins around you. Whoosh. The officer waves you through. You scramble to put your shoes back on. You feel a bit disheveled, messy. But you made it to the airside. You walk to your gate. You sit down and wait. You listen to the announcements. We are now inviting passengers in Group A to board. You look at your ticket. You are Group C. You have to wait. Finally, they call your group. You walk down the jet bridge, that tunnel that connects the airport to the plane. You step onto the aircraft. The flight attendant greets you. Welcome aboard. You find your seat. 12A, a window seat. You struggle to put your carry-on bag in the overhead bin. It is heavy. Maybe a kind stranger helps you. "Let me give you a hand with that," they say. You smile and say, "Thank you so much." The plane takes off. You feel the G-force pushing you back into your seat. Your ears might pop due to the pressure change. You chew some gum to help. During the flight, you might experience turbulence. Turbulence is when the air is rough and the plane shakes. The pilot comes on the intercom. "Folks, we're hitting a bit of chop here. Please fasten your seatbelts." Chop is pilot slang for turbulence. You try to relax. You watch a movie on the tiny screen. Finally, you land. The wheels hit the runway with a thud. The pilot brakes. You have arrived. Now you are in a new country. You have to go through immigration and customs. This is the border control. The officer looks serious. They ask, "What is the purpose of your visit?" You say tourism or vacation. They ask, "How long will you be staying?" You say 1 week. They ask, "Where are you staying?" You say the Marriott Hotel. They stamp your passport. Thump. "Welcome," they say. You feel a rush of relief. You get a taxi to your hotel. You walk into the lobby. It is fancy. There is a chandelier. You go to the front desk. "Hi, I have a reservation under the name Smith." The receptionist types on the computer. Then a frown appears on their face. "I'm so sorry," they say, "but we don't seem to have your reservation." Panic. This is a problem. But you stay calm. You say, "I have my confirmation email right here." You show them your phone. They look at it. "Ah, I see the problem. Your name was spelled wrong in the system. My apologies." They find your room. "Here's your key card. You are in room 505. Enjoy your stay." You get to your room. You open the door. You run to the window to check the view. The view is very important. Maybe you see the ocean or the city skyline. You say, "Breathtaking." Breathtaking means so beautiful it takes your breath away. But wait. You go into the bathroom and notice something. The towels are dirty. This is a moment to complain politely. You call the front desk. You don't scream. You say, "Hello, this is room 505. I'm afraid there is a small problem. The towels in my bathroom have not been changed. Could you please send someone up with fresh ones? Using, I'm afraid, and could you please" makes you sound reasonable and polite. The receptionist says, "Of course, right away. I am terribly sorry." 5 minutes later, housekeeping knocks on the door. Problem solved. Now you want to explore. You go to the concierge desk. The concierge is the expert on the city. You ask, "Can you recommend a good place for dinner? Something local, not too touristy." Touristy describes places that are fake, expensive, and full of tourists. You want authentic. The concierge draws a circle on a map. "Go here," they say. "It's a hidden gem." A hidden gem is a great place that not many people know about. You walk out into the city. You get a little lost. Getting lost is part of the fun until it isn't. You need to ask for directions. You stop a stranger. "Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of the river?" They say, "Sure. Just go straight down this street for 2 blocks, then hang a left." Hang a left is a slang way to say turn left. You say thanks, you find the river. You want a photo, you see a couple taking a selfie. You ask, "Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?" They say, "Sure." You hand them your phone. You smile, say cheese. But travel isn't always perfect. Sometimes emergencies happen. Let's prepare for the worst so we don't have to fear it. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night. Your stomach is turning. You feel hot. You are coming down with something. You have caught a bug. You need a pharmacy. You walk in and find the pharmacist. You have to describe your symptoms. "I feel nauseous." Nauseous means you want to vomit. "I have a fever." "I have the chills." The pharmacist gives you some medicine. "Take this with food," they advise. Or imagine a different nightmare. You reach for your wallet. It is gone. You check your pockets. Nothing. You check your bag. Nothing. You have been pickpocketed. This is a sinking feeling, but you must act. You go to the nearest police station to file a report. You say, "I need to report a theft. My wallet was stolen." The officer asks for details. "Where were you? What time was it?" You answer as best you can. Then you call your bank. "Cancel my cards immediately." It is stressful, yes. But because you know the words report, theft, cancel, and stolen, you can handle it. You are in control. Eventually, the trip ends. You fly home. You are exhausted but happy. You have jet lag. Jet lag is the tiredness you feel when you travel across time zones. You wake up at 4 a.m. because your body thinks it is noon. Now, we arrive at Sunday. The trip is over. The weekend is ending. We are back in the comfort of your home. Sunday has a specific energy. It is slower. It is quieter. It is the Sunday reset. You spend the morning in your pajamas. You make a big pot of coffee. You might tackle the chores. Chores are the boring but necessary cleaning tasks. You separate the laundry, whites, darks, and colors. You load the washing machine. You listen to the hum of the vacuum cleaner as you clean the floors. It is meditative. Sunday afternoon is for meal prep. You chop vegetables for the week ahead. You cook a big batch of soup or rice. You put it in Tupperware containers. You think, I am doing my future self a favor. This is a great mindset. You are taking care of the you of Tuesday and Wednesday. As the sun sets on Sunday, you might feel a creeping anxiety. We call this the Sunday scaries. It is the dread of the upcoming work week. The emails, the meetings, the alarm clock. But we are going to fight the Sunday scaries with words. You sit down with a notebook. You write a to-do list. You dump all your worries onto the paper. Call the bank. Finish the report. Buy milk. Once it is written down, it is manageable. You prioritize. What is the one thing you absolutely must do tomorrow? Star it. You prepare your environment. You pick out your clothes for Monday morning. You pack your bag. You put your keys in the bowl. You are setting yourself up for success. You take a warm bath or a shower. You wash away the weekend. You get into bed early. You might read a book to calm your mind. No phones, no blue light. And here we are, lying in bed on Sunday night. We have traveled a long way together in this script. We started with the alarm clock on a weekday morning, navigated the office, survived the errands, cooked dinner, partied on Friday, traveled the world on Saturday, and reset our lives on Sunday. I want you to take a moment to appreciate what you have done. You have immersed yourself in the full spectrum of English life. You have learned that fluency is not just about grammar books. It is about knowing what to say when the toast burns, when the traffic is bad, when the hotel loses your reservation, and when you fall in love with a new city. English is the tool you use to navigate all these moments. My final advice to you is this: be kind to yourself. Learning a language is a journey that never truly ends. There is no finish line where you suddenly know everything. There will be days when you feel eloquent and poetic. There will be days when you forget the word for spoon. That is okay. It is all part of the process. The most important thing is that you keep showing up. You keep listening. You keep trying. Think of this script as your companion. When you feel stuck, come back to it. Listen to the morning section to start your day right. Listen to the travel section. Before your next vacation, let my voice become your inner voice. Eventually, you won't need me anymore. You will hear these phrases in your own head, in your own voice. And that, my friend, is fluency. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. Thank you for your curiosity, your effort, and your trust. You are building a bilingual brain, and that is a superpower that opens up the entire world. I am Jessica, and this has been English in Advance. I am rooting for you. I believe in you. Now close your eyes, Take one last deep breath and get some rest. Your English journey continues tomorrow. Good night and speak confidently.